who am I with? So you got to be really careful with who you're going to be hanging out with, because the value of the other people can bring you down. Now, when I go out with Neil Strauss, no one knows him. He's just this little guy until accomplishment enter him. So that's why wingmanship rules are really important. Hang out with cool people. Hang out with girls. You know, Jack Osborne. The kid from the Osbournes, right? Jack Osborne. Well, he gets in clubs now, and he rolls. You know, I see him out in clubs in LA all the time. I've met him on a couple occasions, and he rolls with 5 girls at a time. He doesn't go with any guys, just him, 5 girls. And he rolls in. He always has, and it's different girls. He just doesn't care. Just get 5 girls with him, and in he goes. And sometimes his sister's with him, in which case then there's real hoopla, because his sister somehow gets way more fame, right? And she loves to doll herself up, and she also has to have a bodyguard. He doesn't need one, but she needs one, right? So the way she rolls is even bigger. You know, I was in the same room as Christina Aguilera. I tried to meet her, but she had 2 bodyguards. I couldn't fucking get past the bodyguards. The only way to meet Christina Aguilera is if you have bodyguards, and your bodyguards will meet her bodyguards. So if you want to meet Christina Aguilera, you're going to have to take, 2 really big black guys. Okay? But my point is, who am I with is all a part of it. Okay? And this is the game that we can play. One time, I had a photographer with me, taking photos of me, and people are like, they go up to him, and it was Playboy LA, or Playboy New York City now. I had this big, beautiful $1,100 camera, the big Canon one, and he was taking photos of me. So people would come up to him and say, who is he? And, oh, that's Mr. And it would social proof the room. And here I am getting pictures taken with me. Next thing you know, all it takes is me to open up a set, get one girl talking to me, arm in arm, and I'm like, all right, here, sit on my lap, good, jump around here, good. And I just control the set, and this guy's taking photos of me. And people, when I'm in set, they would turn and go, why is he taking photos of you? Kind of like what happened on day one. Why do you have a microphone? But that's too spooky for them. Video and microphone is spooky. Having a photographer isn't spooky to them. That's a positive thing. It's who am I with? When I rolled with, I was in Las Vegas, and I met this Asian 10. Beautiful, beautiful body. You'll see a little video clip in Mysteries Lounge at some point. I brought her up to the VIP section, and as I brought her up, Jenny McCarthy's husband lets me, hey man, hey, what's up? Come on in to the VIP section, and I just had to say, that's Jenny McCarthy's husband. That made me valued, because he's like, hey man, come in, right? As I come in, who's sitting there? Courtney Love, her guitarist, Neil Strauss, and Jenna Jameson. And I come in and, hey, what's up? Give high fives to everybody, what's up? And grab a seat, I'm part of it. Next thing you know, this girl just thinks I'm a fucking 11. Like, she's like, who is this guy? Sitting on my lap, and within 3 minutes, I'm making out with a fucking 10. It was incredible. I ended up getting her back to Neil's hotel room for about 2.5 hours in, which is too soon. So we played, but nothing more. It was too soon. I ended up, long story short, staying at her place for 5 days a few weeks later. So who you hang out with is very important. Very important. Your photo routine will convey that. Who you hang out with, really, it'll happen. One moment. I've got one more concept here. When you approach a girl by herself, that's one level of the game. Next is when you approach groups, like a 3-set, that's the next level. So you're not doing singles, you're doing groups. Then the next level of game is where you're merging groups, what I call advanced group tactics, where you're going from one group and then merging forward. You're mixing the groups together. I didn't see anybody last night, mixing groups. I would love to see mixing groups, where you meet someone and say, come on, let me introduce you to my friends. Even if it's just one of us, okay? Because, Nick was, in the club, and I was with my girl, and I had isolated her away from the boyfriend, right? And I took her aside, and we did a phone number exchange, and then he was walking by, and I said, hey, let me introduce you to my friend. This is Nick, right? Afterwards, he said, why were you doing this? I'm like, just to show that I have good friends, just to merge forward, have a little conversation going. Like Style and I, we do it all the time, cross over that way. I'll talk to his chicks, he'll talk to mine. I'm not hitting on them, but I'll show that I'm a fucking cool guy. And the type of guy that would hang out with Neil would be a cool guy. It raises his value if I'm cool. So I go in and I play a really cool guy and then leave. You know? And if you, especially when you're working with a wing, when you say, I'd like to introduce you, this is, and you do an accomplishment intro, and he's a really good friend, he's an awesome guy, this guy's really smart, you should have seen his last girlfriend. Wow. It makes your value raise, because you're hanging with a cool guy who gets laid, you know? Or what you could say about your wing, or have him say about you is, you know, this guy gets laid like a rock star. Especially for you. And they'll just believe it, you know? It's like, hey, I gotta introduce you, you know, this is my really good buddy, gets laid like a rock star. Done. They'll believe you, and your value goes up through the roof. So some of these little indicators, they can see, some are demonstrated, some have to be seen through a photo routine, some have to be heard through a story, some have to even be heard by other people, because, you know, Neil can't say, I'm rock critic for Rolling Stone magazine. See all the elements here? Whatever it is that we're going to do for this creation of an identity, again, it doesn't have to be real, it just has to be something that we can convey that will assist you in getting girls. This is what we've got to solve now.